Shalom, 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 family, shalom. How's everybody doing out there? How is everybody doing out there? Of course, I'm rolling Dolo this evening. Rolling little Dolo. My Moray, he's nearby. He nearby if the pesky one needs him. But I'm rolling Dolo. My brother's gonna have me handle this. Hopefully, I do it justice. But yeah, but my brother is nearby. If I need him, there he is in the chat. That being said, it is the pesky one, aka your pesky brother, Yehukanan bin Yah of Chasers of the Way. Um, Finishing up where we actually started last night with our new moon feast lesson. We had started with a lesson that I went Pentecostal on from a standpoint of talking about getting your hopes up. You know, a lot of times in life, because we're fearful of being let down and disappointed, uh, it's a tendency of humanity to guard their hearts, to not get their hopes up. And so when promises are made, when things are, in a sense, stated as such, you want to believe, especially when it's something that's in your favor, you definitely want to believe that it'll happen. But then there's that piece of you that holds back because we've been disappointed so much in life. And so that was the impetus going into what we started last night, but that we didn't get all the way into it. So with that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and first and foremost, since I'm rolling Dolo, y'all know what I'm going to do. I got to cue the tunes, I get to cue the music, because I got to set my mood. There we go. There we go. Let me know in the chat, family. Hope that's not too loud. If that is too loud, let me know. If it's taken away from my voice, let me know. With that being said, put a 7 in the chat if I can be heard clearly and cleanly over the music and clearly in general. I'm still fighting a small bug, but at the same time, we're going to make this work. We're going to make this happen. But put a 7 in the chat. See, I got a 7 from my brother. So I must be sounding a little clear, a little clean. 7 from my brother. Who else? Is there another 7? It's just my brother. Okay, Sister Mary gave me a 7 from the Great Northwest. That being said, let me go ahead and shout out the chat. Let me go ahead and shout out the people who have come in. Remember, like, share, subscribe. Come on, wipe your feet up and go interact in the chat. Hopefully I can engage in the chat. But if not, I think, like I said, my brother's nearby. Put your questions in the chat. If I can catch some of the good stuff in the chat as I'm jumping from screen to screen, I most certainly will. But with that being said, let me go ahead and shout out the chat. Thank y'all for coming in. I see my Aunt Diddy up in the building. Aunt Diddy up in the spot. Watch out now. We love you, girl. We love you. Thank you for your testimony. Thank you for the life that you lead. One of our elders. So when the elders speak, we most certainly do listen, and we humble ourselves to our true elders. That being said, I see my sister Cece, the songbird. Definitely looking forward to hearing her sing at her upcoming Shabbat. Definitely looking forward to hearing the songbird sing. She is the woman behind the man, and she helps make all this happen. So the platforms, the websites, and all the stuff that you see us moving in. Shout out to our sister Cece. When you talk about being a true helpmeet, somebody who embraces the vision of a husband and definitely comes out and make the things happen that he desires to make happen. That being said, I see also the other elders. Excuse me. We got Uncle Scrap, aka Uncle Michael, and Aunt Nancy up in the building. True elders for real. Thank you for your wisdom and knowledge that you impart to us when you feel led by the Ruach HaKodesh. Hopefully, we have the edification that you need tonight. We got Sister Mary again from the Great Northwest. Hey, Sister Mary, I got the screensaver on. I can put the link in the chat. The brother Roland Dolo, you want to come up and join? More than welcome to come up and join. Shout out to Sister Mary from the Great Northwest. I wonder what she over there eating. I know she usually has interesting, good meals that she's eating. Sister Mary is very health conscious. Again, you see my brother, the UGZ. That's my Moray. aka the governor, aka Agent Z. You're not big for titles, but I'm the pesky brother, so I always push him on them, aka Droopy. That's a whole college thing that we have with him. But with that being said, mighty man, powerful man of the Most High. I appreciate his lessons. I appreciate not only that, but even though we're very close in age, I don't say very close in age, like I don't know if it's a year or a month, but either way, he's a little bit older than me. But I thank him for the mentorship. Just for the fact that there are things in my life that my brother has imparted. When you talk about calming down, moving in wisdom, now that still be me. But I learned some things from my brother because sometimes you don't have to fight every battle. And he's been teaching me that. And so I appreciate that because, yeah, sometimes, man, But then there's just sometimes I just do what I do. But I'm mindful of the fact that there's some things that I learned watching how this brother moved that really helped my life. So I appreciate him. Let's see, is there anyone else? Did I get everybody? Oh, my brother Roosevelt Woodley. Hey, we've had some clashes on Facebook. I appreciate him for joining. Feel free in the chat. If we disagree, we're going to go at each other, but he's not going to back down at all. My brother Roosevelt Woodley is up in the building. Shalom, my brother. I say I got family up in the building, a.k.a. the Roysters is up in the building. My family, Kenneth Royster, is up in the building. Shout out to you also. Sister Soldier, a.k.a. Sister Tracy. Is she going to tell me to take my time? I wonder if she's going to tell me to take my time in all caps. But Sister Tracy with the precepts on deck, definitely up in the building. Like I said, please, family, I'm in. Like, share, subscribe. Wipe your feet off at the building. We're going to talk about this as far as getting your hopes up. The first part of this is part 2. The first part of this we talked about in our own private, yes, she put it in the chat. I will take my time, dear sister. But the first part of this, because we were taking our time last night and walking through several scriptures, but the first part of this is on chasersoftheway.com. If anybody could put that in the chat, chasersoftheway.com, our website, where you will be able to have access to it for those that have given Moray's wife the email. Shout out to Kia Targaryen, my dear sister Tia Targaryen, logging on tonight. Definitely up in the building, but shout out to you. But again, chasersoftheway.com to catch the first part of this. I'm going to do a quick or brief recap on it, but for the most part, if you want to catch a lot of what I spoke on last night, it is on chasersoftheway.com. If anybody could put that in the chat for me, so that way we can go ahead and I can focus on the lesson for anybody that want to catch the first part of this. But with that being said, let me go. My brother Briggs is up in the building, always bringing the good, positive edification. Can we talk? That's Brother Briggs. Please go to his page. Like, he's bringing one of the very few brothers in Israel that's bringing positive edification. Please like, share, and subscribe to his page. He don't try to come with all the foolishness that you see in a lot of people's pages. He's not attacking people. He's bringing what I like to call that edification that is in line with the character of the Most High. That's what you get when you go to Brother Briggs' page. He's not trying to give you no deep revelation or anything that's going to, make you have to go and, he is about the simplicity of the book, and he's about the simplicity of we got to emulate who the Most High is and line up with that. He reminds us of our mother when I listen to some of his shorts or some of his messages where he's really focused on the character of the Most High. You can have all these revelations and all this deep understanding, but if your character is off, then you're a tinkling cymbal in the sounding brass. So I thank you and I appreciate your message, Brother Briggs. Keep that up. Go like, share, subscribe to Brother Briggs' page. That being said, let me get into this. So last night we were talking about the king. And we were talking about the king from the standpoint of him being, for lack of a better term, quote unquote, before his time. And what we meant by that, or what we were understanding or surmising as we went through a lot of scriptures and a lot of lesson last night, was that the king, from the time he was 12, which you can see this in Luke chapter 2, verses 41 through 47, where he was mindful of the temple. Yeah, that doesn't seem like a big deal. But the interesting thing about the king and him being mindful of the temple is the fact that he was not of the tribe that was supposed to be mindful of the temple. He was not of the tribe that was supposed to be mindful of the temple. So how is it that this 12-year-old youth, this 12-year-old lad, sitting in the temple, chopping it up with doctors? And we're not talking about those dudes you see on ER. We're not talking about those dudes that's on Grey's Anatomy or General Hospital, some of the shows we either used to watch or watch on TV. We're talking about people who were supposed to be skilled, knowledgeable, very astute in the word, very astute. This is what we're talking about. When they talk about doctors, they talk about master teachers, people who are long in knowledge. They writing the books, they writing the curriculum. They're the ones that your teachers go and learn from. This is what we're talking about. This is who, at 12 years old, the king, Yahushua Mashiach, was sitting there and he's learning from. Not only was he learning and listening, but he was contributing at 12 years old to the point that was confounded by his doctrine. There's confounded by his understanding. Shout out to Sister Judith, aka Deborah, up in the building. Shalom, dear sister. But this is what we're talking about. He was before his time. Because I know me at 12, I was watching Transformers. I wasn't trying to sit at the feet of no preachers or elders, pastors, apostles when I came to understanding. At age 12, that wasn't me. I was watching cartoons and I was playing football. But the king, not only was he having dialogue with people who had doctorate degrees in Torah and mysteries and understanding, but he also was breaking it down to the point he was schooling them. They was confounded at his doctrine at 12. The issue was he was not of the tribe of Levi. He was not of the tribe of Levi. And so when we got into this and we started reading Hebrews chapter 7, where it talks about a change in the priesthood, there had to be a change in the priesthood. And the reason why there had to be a change in the priesthood is because when you look at the lineages that are outlined in Matthew 1:1, and then the Luke 3:23, as was supposed, we use these lineages to debate virgin birth. This had nothing to do with trying to prove virgin birth and all this other stuff that we talk about. These were the establishments of his parentage or his tribe, his lineage. It's had nothing to do with us trying to figure out what line it was from. Is Joseph the father, the Most High stepping in? Whatever you choose to ascribe to, that's your choice. What we're talking about is the fact that this 12-year-old had an affinity for the things of the temple, but he came from a tribe that had nothing to do with the temple. And so we walked through several scriptures to bring forth the sense, or bring forth the understanding. Or for your record, if you want to go back and review these scriptures, this is how mindful he was at all his life for this. At age 12, he's already in the temple, being about his father's business. So he had an understanding. But then also, when you look at Numbers 4:1-4, chapter 4, verses 1-4, and then skip down to 15. At the age of 30 in Torah, you couldn't step into ministry. You couldn't step into priesthood until the age of 30, because according to custom, that was when you appeared to be at your most mature, or the peak of your maturity. You understand when you talk about like that man strength. Like, I got a son that I'm grooming. Like, physically, he's probably the strongest person in my family, but yet he still hasn't gotten his man strength. He'll get it eventually, but he hasn't gotten it yet. That's going to be a scary proposition because he's already strong. But when you talk about that man strength, those that are of this age, like I'm still at an age where I still got that strength, like, you know, you may not want them problems type strength. Got that man strength. Those that are men, we know about that man strength. That strength you don't play with, that come out. This is what you get at the age of 30. Usually about 30, in the middle age and all that other stuff. This is what the king had. So he's moving at age 30 to go, and he goes through his ritual washing. He goes through his baptism. You see this played out when the Most High endeavored to want to visit the people in Exodus 19 and 10. Exodus 19 and 10, where the people were commanded to do what? Wash their clothing. Sanctify themselves. Wash their clothing. Preparing for the visitation of the king. You see this also played out, excuse me, when the commandment was given to Aaron and his sons to do what? Before you enter into the temple of the tabernacle, before you enter into the temple of the congregation, you wash your hands in the basin and you wash your feet, signifying or symbolizing the work of your hands must be clean, the doings must be clean, and your walk must be clean. So it wasn't just enough for you to appear outwardly that you are doing the will of the Father, but your life had to line up with it. So you couldn't be shabby. That's what these washings symbolize. So when the king is coming to visit Yehochanan the Immerser to get baptized, he's doing this under the understanding of the Torah. He's mindful of his priestly role. Like I said, part one of that, I'm just giving summary leading into tonight's lesson to finish this. Part one is in chasersoftheway.com. We have a link to that. It's through our Google Meet. For those that have access, definitely reach out to us on chasersoftheway.com and you'll be walked through the steps on how to get access to that lesson. And with that being said, the king is mindful of this because at age 30, he's coming to be baptized. Man, there's my brother, man. Keep my brother in prayer. Shout out to you. I see my brother, he raised faith, aka Big Suka B Maccabees, aka the big homie G.I. Good to see you in the chat, my brother. That being said, he's washing himself or preparing himself for priestly ministry. But he's of the line or the tribe of Judah. Christ, being of the tribe of Judah, went through all the priestly steps to teach. So when we speed things forward a little bit, we see an account in Luke chapter 20, where his question or his authority is called into question, because we have two witnesses that show that his lineage is of the line of Judah. You have Matthew's account, chapter 1, and you also have the account with Luke, chapter 3. And that one goes all the way back to Adam. How is it that you up in the temple teaching when, according to Hebrews 7, Judah had no dealings with the things of the temple? Like I said, there's plenty, we talked plenty about that yesterday. But he had no dealings with the temple. How are you, being somebody of the line of Judah, caring so much about the temple? But what authority are you teaching? Right, they step into the king. Mind you, he been out there healing the sick, raising the dead, blind eyes seeing, deaf ears hearing, lepers getting cleansed, feeding people with 2 fish and 5 loaves. I mean, he doing the work. So just based off that alone, and I understand why he said in Matthew 11, tell Yehochanan the Immerser what you see. I mean, at least you hear the work. There got to be something to me if you're hearing the kind of work that I'm doing. You would think that alone, based on the work he was doing alone, dudes wouldn't have no question. But that let you know the wicked, depraved state we was in. That let you know how wicked the time he came through. Because how's a man doing all this? And you questioning his authority. You questioning his right to be able to do what it is that he do. How? That's a whole nother talk, whole nother conversation. But during the midst of the interaction, the king asked a heck of a question. When they came to him asking the question, he said, answer this question. He said, John's baptism, was it from heaven or was it from man? And the reason why the king asked him that is because when you go back to John 1st chapter, read verses 18 through 34, they were present. Matter of fact, when you look at all the baptismal accounts, Pharisees, scribes, and elders were present. So it wasn't that they didn't know who the king was. They knew who the king was. They knew who he was. Not only did they know who he was, but when they pressed John about him, John was like, yo, I'm not Elijah. because he didn't understand the prophecy of Malachi 4 and 6. Not only that, but I'm not the Christ. But the dude coming after me, yo, he off the hook. And the way that I'm going to know he the one is because the spirit in me is going to be able to recognize the spirit ascending upon him and resting upon him. That's how I'm going to know. And when he saw the king coming, what did he say? Behold the Lamb of God. He's the one that's coming to take away the sins of the world. That's what he said. So they was present when John validated through the baptism process who this man is. His baptism wasn't just baptism with water, but the Holy Spirit descended upon him in that moment. That's John 1:18-34. So when he asked him John's baptism, he wasn't talking about all of John's baptisms. He was talking about the one that they knew. He was talking about the one that they knew. Yo, you heard about me. You know who I am. How you asking what authority I do this? And they couldn't answer the question because if they said anything other than it came from heaven, they know they lied because John was the one who told them, yo, behold the Lamb of God. This is him. This is the one I was speaking of. That's what John said. So if they would have called John a liar, guess what? The people would have went nuts because people was holding John in high esteem because John wasn't keeping people from the temple. Matter of fact, let me do this real quick while it's on my mind. Shout out to my niece TJ, my spiritual niece TJ. Shout out to you, baby. She asked a heck of a question last night, and I want to correct this about Caiaphas. Moray corrected it last night, and I want to further correct it. I know that John is of the line of Aaron, but it was Caiaphas who was the high priest. So when John is ministering outside the temple, John is ministering outside the temple because he's the only spirit-led person there. There was no Ark of the Covenant in the second temple. So the Spirit of God was with John the Baptist, and he's the one that's ministering outside the temple, and he's ministering to everybody, preparing everybody for the coming King, the Lamb of God, the one that's coming to take away the sins of the world. This is who John said Christ is. So now when he asked them about the baptism, they couldn't deny what was said out there vocally, so they decided to say nothing. And so because they decided to say nothing, Christ said, well, yo, I ain't going to answer your question. But the reason why we going there is because through Christ, through the King, we have this model. We have this priesthood that we was going over yesterday that now has been reintroduced because it was already stated back in the time of our father, and we're about to get into this, our forefather Abraham. It was already intact. It was already in place. Matter of fact, I would even surmise or argue the fact that it was in place when it was given to Adam initially. But because Adam fell in sin, that's what was lost in the garden. When you talk about the kingly and priestly anointing. The kingly and priestly anointing, or the order of Melchizedek. Christ is not Melchizedek. He is after the order of Melchizedek. What is the order of Melchizedek? Where you operate kingly authority and priestly service. Kingly authority and priestly service. So this is what Christ reinstated through his life, the order of Melchizedek. And that's what we were talking about, and why Christ was so mindful of things of the temple at an early age, because he understood the call or the order in which he was called to walk in. He, being from the tribe of Judah, not Levite, not connected to Levite at all, was able, by the leading of the Father, a prophecy that was spoken by David in Psalms 110, where it talks about that you will be after the order of Melchizedek. We talked about that last night. Psalms 110:4. This is what Christ manifested, or this is what Christ walked in. So I'm just going back and I'm replaying a lot of what we talked about last night, because we're about to get into where we're at now. And where we're at now is when you look at the text in Hebrews, we talked about Hebrews 7. If you're a part of Chasers, please go back and catch this past Shabbat class that Moray taught. Please go back and catch chapter 7, because he lined, and I know he didn't even dig in as deep as he could, but with what he hit, that's important. And we're going to go back and revisit these texts because there's so much to this. But with that being said, I want to go back to Hebrews 6. The reason why I want to go back to Hebrews 6 is because this is what is leading into why our king moved the way that he moved. Because what you got to look at as we go through the narrative in Hebrews 6 is that this was written, or the book of Hebrews is written during a time of great struggle. Those in Chasers, we've encouraged you and are encourage you and will encourage you, especially when it comes around the time of the Moedim. It seems like things act up a lot. Things go awry a lot. And we want to encourage you to stay in the fight, to be encouraged, to stay focused. So when you look at this account in Hebrews, it's written during a time of great struggle, i.e., get your hopes up, family. Written during a time of great affliction, where believers were being persecuted. And a lot of times, in many instances, being persecuted for sport. You had people that would be turning you in just to turn you in, just so they can get good standing in the community or a position. Purposely selling you out. And a lot of them wasn't even just people of other nations. We're probably talking about Israelites selling out other Israelites. Just going through some stuff that you see even occurring today. Because we're talking about a lot of Hellenized people. A lot of people who are coming out of Hellenization, or a system that is contrary to the word, the understanding, the will of God. So the further and further away you got from Torah, you were more socially acceptable. Your politics aligned with the debauchery that the Grecian culture made, and that the Roman culture came and solidified. Their way was more aligned with their God. So, matter of fact, man, I wish I would have thought about this sooner. But when you talk about, I think it's Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, where it talks about how the righteous would be tested. If anybody can get Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, where it talks about where the righteous will be tested, how those who are unrighteous will come against us because we're not for their turn. I believe it's Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2. Please put the book, chapter, and verses of that in the chat. I would definitely love to go to that. I don't have time to go grab it. But this is what we're talking about, family. What it was commonplace for those who were obedient to the Most High to catch a lot of smoke, to catch a lot of heat, to catch a lot of trauma, to be killed, unalived, abused, falsely accused, lied on. They did it to the king, and he said in chapter 10, he said in chapter 10 of Matthew, "Are the servants greater than the master? So if the king bear the cross alone." Think about it, what the king went through for the sake of this truth, for the sake of this understanding, for the sake of reconciling us to the Father. Think about what the king went through, family. Think about it, because we're talking about an innocent man. My brother's gonna get into it come on Shabbat, come on Passover, but we're talking about an innocent man. He did no wrong. He did no evil. Contributed well to society, but yet his own people look for reasons to vilify him and to eventually unalive him. But he bared it anyway. And he bared it in such a way that despite being abused beyond measure, then had another 150 pounds put on his back, deprived of sleep and everything that he went through, he carried the cross about a half a mile to a mile uphill. This is the time in which we're talking about, family. We're walking according to the ways of the Father. Walking according, shout out to Sister BJ up in the building. Shalom, dear sister. Walking according to the ways of the Father could literally cost you your life. Obedience to the Most High was not the social norm. Truth is the new hate speech. It was then, and it is now. Well, now if you tell people the truth, you get vilified. This is what we're talking about, family. I'm going somewhere with this because I want to encourage you to get your hopes up. Principalities, or the principles of neighborly love, or brotherly love and sisterly love and respect, are taken as being weak. I can't put myself out there. Even though the king said, love your enemies. Pray for them that despitefully misuse you. Bless those that curse you. That's what the king said. He said even the heathen know to love them that love them. That's what the king said. But it's taken as weak. Acts of kindness are exploited and not often reciprocated. Didn't the king say, lend to those who might not be able to pay back? He said that. But you see it. People are trying to get at you, trying to scam you, trying to scheme you. This is during that time too. That's why the Most High, when he saw Nathanael coming afar off, he said, a true Israelite indeed, who in him is no guile. Why was that such a big deal? Because everybody was scheming during that time. Everybody was plotting during that time. Everybody was trying to get some kind of assent, and anything that could be said to be used against you in order for me to get elevated if I chose to try to exploit you. We're talking about a time where obedience to the commandments of the Almighty could literally cost you your life. So as we get into the text, I hope that you guys see what it is that the mindset that the king was dealing with, but yet we still are encouraged to keep our hopes up. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Let me go ahead and share my screen. So I won't be able to interact with the chat as much because I'll be on another page, but hopefully this lesson or the rest of this lesson edifies you. Again, go to chasersoftheway.com. After I finish, I can put it in the chat, but go to chasersoftheway.com and you will be able to catch the first part of this as we go ahead and try to wrap the rest of this up tonight. We want to paint the picture of the time we're living in because we're pretty close now. We're now the truth of the word of the Most High. You get vilified, whether you're catching it from non-believers, sometimes whether you're catching it in Israel. Got to be mindful. Want to encourage you all. Get your hopes up. Get your hopes up. Let me share my screen. There we go. There we go. Are you guys seeing my screen? If you're seeing my screen, please put a 12 in the chat for the tribes. Put a 12 in the chat for the tribes. I want to make sure you see my screen. Okay, I'm seeing the 12 pop in the chat. All right. Amen, Sister Boy. Yep, breakthroughs, time for breakthrough. Yeah, exactly. The enemy, he's trying to kill your effectiveness. This is what Moray was talking about this past Shabbat class. He's trying to kill your effectiveness. Remember, Christ said, ye are the salt of the earth, the light of the world. But if the salt loses its savor or its flavor, it's good for nothing but to be trodden underfoot. That's why we got to stay dialed in, locked in. We got to stay encouraged. That being said, let's go to Hebrews 6. Go to Hebrews 6. Verse 9, Hebrews 6, verse 9. And it says, but beloved, we are persuaded better things of you and things that accompany salvation. Though we thus speak, for God is not unrighteous to forget your work and your labor of love. Be encouraged, family. The Most High is not unrighteous. for those that's really doing this from a clean heart, a pure conscience, a pure mindset. The word is saying that God is not unrighteous to forget your work, your labor of love. Whether you're on your job, whether you're in your home, whether you're serving in your local assemblies, the Most High is not unrighteous. You gather with your family, you're seeking for a way to serve the Most High. Your obsession, according to John 4:34, Christ said, my meat is to do the will of my Father. That's the mindset that you live with every day. This is talking about you. The Father is not unrighteous to forget your work and your labor of love, which you have showed towards his name. There's a while ago, I had a conversation with my dad. We have, siblings and stuff, and one of my brothers, he kind of did something, and he consulted us other two brothers about what our brother had did, and my other brother was like, "That's just him being him." And when he asked me about it, I said, "That's what my man do. He always been that way. That's him." And my dad said, "Do I have the right? Should I say something about it?" I said, "Well, shoot, Dad, yeah." Because me and my brother looked at it and understood from the standpoint, he's just going to tell us to shut up because we brothers. But if you step to and speak to that issue directly, he carries your name. And with your name comes what you're known for, your Shem. It's the Hebrew word for name, your Shem, your reputation. So now if you speak up, it carry a different name or a different hit than if I spoke up or the other brother spoke up. It carries more weight. Like when I talk to my son is my namesake. And so he takes very seriously the reputation that I, as a man, am trying to build. And I take it seriously. And so understanding that there's certain ways that he carries himself because he doesn't want to mess up my name. That's my reputation you're messing with. So I have expectations to my kids on how they carry themselves because that's my name you're messing with. It's the same thing with the Most High. He said, for the Most High is not unrighteous to forget your work and your labor of love, which ye have shown towards his name. We be forgetting in Israel. We get too reckless in Israel. How we treat our women, how we treat our kids, how the women talk to the husbands, all this stuff. How we act in the public, and we say we Israel, and we not representing that name. If I can't find how you moving, in Torah, then I got a problem with you because you messing with my daddy's name. But Dad got a problem with you. And if Dad speak up about the matter, guess what? That's smoke. So when you talk about the name was always represent what is known for. That's why even when you looked at the matter in the book of in the book of Joshua, it was a representation of the Most High that went forth before the children of Israel. It was that reputation. It was his name, the God of Israel. What was he known for? You heard what he did to Egypt, right? So, we can't mess with these people because if they God is fighting for them, we gonna end up like Egypt. That was the reputation. That was the name of the Most High. So as long as the family stayed in relationship with the Most High, representing his name, the Father was fighting for the family. So this is what we're talking about in Hebrews 6:10, where it says, the Father is not unrighteous to forget your acts, to forget your work and your labor of love, which ye have showed towards his name, that ye have ministered to the saints and do minister. So you're serving. Listen, serving is just not getting up in here and teaching the scriptures. That's not what ministering is. Like, I got a sister who serves with food. I got an aunt who can knit clothes and fix clothes. Got people who have financial understanding, like understanding of business and finances. Got some people who understand medicine and medicinal, different areas of service, but it's ministered towards the saints. And you still do minister. A while ago, we taught a lesson about qualifications of a saint. One, that you must be patient. That connects to the character of the Most High. Two, everything that you do must either be Torah-based or Torah-inspired. And three, have to walk with the mind or the faith of Hamashiach. So this is what we're talking about. So if you consider yourself a saint, you fall in that category. And in that category, everything that you're doing is to the saints. The money that you may raise may be for a movement later. The invention that you may have may be for, and in other words, everything that you're doing is to eventually promote the community, promote the nation. That's your desire. That's what we're talking about when we talk about do minister. Not everybody is called to get in and teach or break or expound or give dissents. Not everybody's called to do that. This is what we're talking about. Different helps, different gifts, different administrations. Some people understand medical. Some people understand finances. However, the Most High has you to minister unto the saints. Verse 11. And we desire that every one of you do sure to show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end. Hope unto the end. That same diligence, that full assurance, that in spite of all you're going through because you know that in the end of all that you're going through, you shall wear a crown. There's a reward at the end. It's like you have a job. And with that job, because of the promise that was made with that job, you expect, whether it's monthly, whether it's bi-weekly, whether it's semi-monthly or twice a month, you expect compensation, or there's a hope of the compensation based on conversations that were had that if you do this, there needs to be something coming back. This is what we're talking about. It says, we desire that every one of you do show forth the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end. In other words, family, don't give up. Don't give up. Let's look at that. Let's look at this thing called hope. Look at the Greek. The Greek of it is LPS. LPS. I probably jacked that up or said that wrong. Let me see. LPS or something to that effect. Here's what it says. Expectation of evil or fear. Expectation of good hope. In a Christian sense, joyful or confident expectation or of eternal salvation. On hope, in hope, having hope, the author of hope, or he who is the foundation, the thing hoped for. That's hope in Greek, in the Greek. Let's look at it even from a natural sense. Let me go, I'm gonna share my screen with this. Talk about hope, man. Hope. Hope is an optimistic state of mind based on the expectation. See, the enemy be trying to get us to lower our expectation. Things happen. Things been happening coming into this coming season of Moedim that have been trying to get us to lower expectation. No, stand fast, family. But the expectation of positive outcomes, even in the face of adversity. It combines desire with confidence in the possibility of fulfillment, serving as a psychological driver, something that pushes you. Hope theory. Hope theory meaning goals, pathway, agency, or things that move you. A psychological driver or a spiritual anchor for endurance. Remember, we just read that verse where it said, that you carry on to the end. We're going to come to this anchor thing too. Aspects of hope, psychological structure. According to Snyder's hope theory, it includes setting goals. What did Habakkuk say? Now, Habakkuk was talking about the word, but what does Habakkuk commands us? Write the vision and do what? Make it plain. There's a lot of narrative out there. There's a lot that's going on. One dear sister went through something personal. I'm not going to put her business out there. I don't know if she's on tonight, but she went through something personal. She used that as an opportunity to work on her business model. I'm doing the same thing. I just need the money to go ahead and get my and get my branding. But this is what we're talking about. In other words, not allowing the situation to make you lose focus. It says, according to Snyder's hope, it includes setting goals, finding pathways to them, and having the agency or motivation to pursue them. Function. Hope reduces anxiety, improves brain function, and encourages healthier lifestyle choices under stress. In other words, the word says to fight or war good warfare by the prophecies that are spoken over you. They produce the hope. We're going to get more into it. We're going to get more into that. Biblical virtue, often seen as a confident expectation or a theological virtue. Faith in the future tense, rooted in what? Promises, rather than just wishful thinking. Something was said. Something was said, family. What does Numbers 23:19 say? The Most High is what? Not a man that he should lie, nor the Son of Man that he should repent. If he not said it, shall he bring it to pass? I don't care what everybody else is talking about. What did the Father say? What did the Father promise? Difference from a wish. Hope implies possibility of achievement, whereas a wish may be purely desire without what? Expectation. Etymology. Hope derives from the Old English word hopian, meaning to have confidence or trust. Yes, Lord. Having fun with this, family. I'm having fun with this. Bear with me, family. Bear with me. I'm going somewhere. Hope is often viewed as a vital human necessity, sustaining individuals during difficult times. Get your hope up, family. Get your hope up. Get your hope up. Get your hope up, family. Some of y'all already doing stuff. I heard some reports. Some of y'all already doing stuff. Shout out to you, Kyra. I heard some good things about you. Get your hope up, baby girl. I see you. Sustaining individuals during difficult times, such as when facing health challenges or uncertainties. Shout out to the big homie G. That was personal. This is what we're talking about, family. Get your hope up. Thank you, Father. Get your hope up, family. Get your hope up. My son put in the chat, Philippians 4:6-9. Think on these things. Yes. Get your hope up. I thought I did, sis, a little bit ago. If I need to turn it down more, let me know. My sister said the same thing. But get your hope up, family. Think on these things that are true, a lovely, good report. If there be any praise, if there be any virtue, think on these things. Get your hope up. I'm going somewhere, family. Let's get back to these verses. Let me share my screen. Sorry, let me share the tab before I forget. Let me share the screen. Going somewhere with this. Let me go to, matter of fact, before I go there, let me go with this. Let's go to Proverbs, because this is what it feels like to have hope. Go to Proverbs 13. Proverbs 13 and 12. We share it. Proverbs 13 and 12. Excuse me. And it says, hope deferred maketh the heart sick. So yeah, it do kind of make you sick to have to wait. But when the desire cometh, it's a tree of life. What the words say? Weeping shall endure for a night, but joy shall come in the morning. Just keep walking it out, family. Get your hope up. It said, hope deferred maketh the heart sick. But when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life, especially when it's something that the Father said. Let me go back to the text. All praises. Let me see. My sister told me to turn the music down. I hope it's not too loud anymore, family. I don't see any confirmation. I know my sister touched me on the side, told me to turn it down. Let's see. Okay. How am I being heard, family? I did turn it down. Do I need to turn it down more? I'm not seeing anything in the chat. I guess it's all right. Let me move forward with the lesson. Okay. That being said, where did I leave off at? Let's see. I think I let off. Okay. Verse 12. Let me go back to verse 11, then I'll go down to verse 12. So it says, we desire that every one of you show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end, that ye be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith, remember, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. How do we have faith? Faith cometh by what? Hearing, and hearing by the word. And who did the word come from? The Most High. So the Most High commands us, we move, and we have that hope or that blessed assurance that if we do what he said do, that we're going to turn out or we're going to prevail in the end. So it says that ye be not slothful. His word is to move us, to keep us moving. So if we become slothful or we stop moving, it's because we lost faith. But followers of them that through faith and patience inherit the what? Promises. What the Father said. So through faith and patience, we inherit what the Father says we can get. The end result of what he commanded. Verse 13, it says, for when the Most High made a promise to Abraham, shout out to my niece Promise. Keep doing what you're doing, baby girl. Shout out to my niece Promise. That's my Ray's youngest daughter. She in college doing her thing, man. Proud of her. For when the Most High made a promise to Abraham, because he could not swear by no greater, that's dope. The Father couldn't look to the right nor to the left. He could only look at something and say, yo, I'm going to do this. There's a lesson that my brother's going to bring out that's going to tie into this even a little bit more tonight. I can't wait till he bring it. He said some of it, but I can't wait till he bring it out even more. But it's talking about a promise that he made to Abraham, because he could not swear by no greater. He swore by himself. God said, I swear to God. The Most High said, I swear to the Most High. Our mom used to say that a lot. Every time we come across this verse, she would say, I swear. God said, I swear to God. Oh, it's just my vibe, sis. It's just my vibe. I got another text on the side. It's just my vibe. I like it. But with that being said, he said, swear by no greater, saying, surely blessing I will bless. This is what he said to our father Abraham. Surely blessing I will bless thee, and multiplying I will multiply thee. This is what he said to Abraham. Now the Father said this to Abraham. There had to be something that was said to Abraham or Abraham must have obeyed or did something or showed supreme trust and confidence in the Most High for the Father to come back and say, surely blessing I will bless you, and multiplying I will multiply you. Why did the Father say this? And so he patiently endured and obtained what? The promise. Let's go back. The Father just coming out of nowhere, and he's saying to Abraham, blessing I will bless you, multiplying I will multiply you. Where are we getting that from? I'm glad you asked, family. Let's go back. Let's look at Genesis. Let's see where this is coming from. Let's go back to Genesis 22. Genesis 22. We start at verse 6. I'm going to share my screen. Genesis 22, verse 6. And it says, this is what Abraham did. Now, mind you, Abraham was commanded to give up the thing that he loved most in this world. The thing that he believed the Most High for most in this world. But when commanded, the Most High was told, the Most High, when commanded by the Most High to get that up, Abraham was willing to give it up. Let's go. Let's talk about it. Let's let the book speak. So Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering, and he laid it upon his son Isaac. And he took the fire. Shout out to Q, who asked a question about this not too long ago. He a Targaryen. He took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both together. Wait, I have to beat that up. And they went both of them together. So Abraham and Isaac are going to sacrifice. And Isaac spake to his father, spake unto Abraham his father, and said, Father. And he said, Here I am. Here am I, my son. And he said, Behold, the fire and the wood. But where's the lamb for the burnt offering? Yo, we going up to the mountain. We're going up to sacrifice, but I don't see a lamb. What's going on, Pops? When we go sacrifice with no lamb? When we go do this and have this divine visitation with the Most High, but no lamb? Peep the faith of our forefather Abraham. Abraham said, My son, the Most High will provide himself a lamb for the burnt offering. So you know what? Isaac trusted his father. He said, all right. I got wood here. I got fire here. So I know my father trusts the Most High. Whatever will be, will be. So they went up together. Genesis, verse 9. And they came to the place where the Most High told him of. And Abraham built an altar. Shout out to my brother, the Moray, about these altars. I wish we could find that lesson. But Abraham built an, excuse me, an altar there. And he laid the wood in order. And he bound his son, Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. Now people think Isaac was a little boy when this happened. No, Isaac was not a little boy. Isaac was not a little boy. Isaac was old enough that if he wanted to resist his dad, he could have resisted. But he was obedient to his father, even unto death. Sound familiar? Because Abraham did tell the son, the Most High will provide a lamb. Isaac was like, okay. But yet when it came time for the lamb to appear, Isaac finds himself getting bound up, laid on the altar. And Isaac didn't fight. Laid him on the altar. He did what his father said do, even unto death. So that said a lot about Abraham, who was willing to do this, and about Isaac, who was willing to allow it. That's a whole nother lesson within itself. Abraham stretched forth his hand, and he took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Most High called unto him out of the Shamaim and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, lay not thy hand upon the lad, neither do the thing unto him, for now I know. No don't mean that the Most High didn't know. No means yada in Hebrew. Now he experienced. In other words, Isaac and Abraham's level of commitment in this moment matched the Father's level of commitment to us. For we understand, according to John's epistle, he so loved the world that he did what? He gave. The Father is willing to give, he's willing to do. But can we match the intensity? Can we love him with our whole heart, soul, mind, and body? In other words, in the ark of our mind, in the ark of our heart, is he seated in that most holy place? Is he seated in the most holy place of our mind, our will, and our emotions? Or do we have other gods there? Is something else taking that seat? What Abraham demonstrated in this moment and what the Father was able to experience in this moment is that I know that you fears the Most High. You reverence me. You understand me. Seeing that thou hast not withheld thy son, thy only son. Mind you, there was Ishmael out there. But this was the one that was of the promise. The one that was birthed by the woman that he loved. The barren woman. But he was willing to give him up. He was willing to give him up. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in the thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for the burnt offering instead of his son. I want my brother to teach a lesson about some stuff I'm about to go over tonight about the walking between the pieces. We're about to go over it, but I want him to teach this lesson. So y'all put in the chat, calling Moray out. He got to teach this lesson. Love you, brother. Abraham called the name of the place Jehovah Jireh, as it is said this day, the mount of the Most High is the mount of the Most High. It shall be seen. And the angel of the Lord said unto Abraham out of heaven in the second time, peep it, family. This is what he said. This is what we read in Hebrews. He said, by myself have I sworn. The Father said this. By myself have I sworn, saith the Most High. For because thou hast done this thing, and have not withheld thy son, thy only son, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thee, as the stars of heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore, and thy seed shall possess the gates of his enemies. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. Why? Why did Abraham, our forefather, have such confidence? Such confidence. Because the Father had been showing himself to Abraham this whole time. Remember, 12th chapter of Genesis, he told him to get from among his father and his people. Abraham was willing to do that. We get to the 14th chapter. Matter of fact, let's just go to it. Let's go to it. Because this is where this order, this priesthood comes into play at. Go to the 14th chapter of Genesis. Verses 18 through 20. Let me check on the chat real quick, just in case. Okay. I'm sorry, Sister BJ. I hope you're not thinking of clubbing. I don't know if they play this in the. I wasn't clubbing when you were clubbing. I know the devil wasn't playing this in the club, but yeah. Let me go to the 14th chapter of Genesis, verses 18 through 20. And it says, and Melchizedek, the king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine. Bread representing the word, wine representing the spirit. What's in the temple? The menorah, representing the seven spirits of the Most High, which we see in Isaiah chapter 11, verse 2. So you see the wine representing the spirit. You see the menorah, which is where the menorah is at in the temple, and the bread, or the 12 pieces of unleavened bread that were baked for every Sabbath on a table in the temple, along with the altar of incense leading into the most holy place. This is what Melchizedek came and he brought forth to Abraham. So if we're going to walk in covenant relationship, we always have to have the word and the spirit. You can't have one without the other. You can't have one without the other. You must be filled with the Ruach HaKodesh. Isn't that what happened with Christ? That's what the spirit represents. The king had the word. That's why he's coming at age 30 and he's allowing himself to go through the priestly washing in order for him to prepare for the temple of congregation practices that he was going to get into. In other words, for him to enter the temple, or for him to walk in the temple or temple worship or the most holy place, he had to have the bread and the wine. He had to be filled with the Ruach HaKodesh. So he brought forth the bread and the wine, and he was the priest of the Most High. And he blessed him and said, "Blessed be Abram of the Most High God, possessor of the Shamayim and earth. And blessed be the Most High God, which hath delivered thy enemies into thy hand." And he gave him a tithe of all. So Abraham, our father Abram, just come from fighting, come from prevailing, come from winning. And when he has interactions with this kingly priest, he paid a tithe to him, a first fruit to him. This is what he paid to him, the first harvest, because the father was with Abraham. So the father is showing Abraham already, I'm with you. I'm giving you victory over enemies. Anybody that's wanting to come against you, I'm keeping my word. Just continue to trust me. And Abraham is showing forth this good faith or this trust by paying the tithe, by giving, by rendering the first fruit, confirming his trust in the Most High. Let's go to the next chapter, chapter 15, verse 1. And it says, after these things, after what things? After Abraham just came from whooping tail, stomping people out, taking care of business, and then paying that tithe to Melchizedek after Melchizedek blessed him. He said, after these things, the word of the Most High came to Abram in a vision, saying, fear not, Abram. This is what the Father says to him. Oh, Abram, don't even fear. I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. The Father telling him, I'm your protection and I'm your exceeding great reward. This is what Abram is thinking of. Abram said to the Most High, what wilt thou give me, seeing that I go childless? And the steward of my house is Eliezer of Damascus. And Abram said, behold, to me thou hast given me no seed. And lo, one born in my house is my, one born in my house is my heir. And so this is what he's saying. You've given me already enough. What more will you give me? Because the Most High said, I am your shield and your exceeding great reward. You're like, I have a lot. But that thing that I desire the most, that thing that I wanted the most, I don't have. What is it? I don't have an heir. I don't have a son. I don't have one to carry on this legacy. I have Eliezer. He's a faithful servant. That's a whole nother lesson, a whole nother teaching that when you talk about other nations and blessings. Eleazar is blessed. Eleazar is in a great place. But when it comes to the heir or being the promise, the inheritor of the promise, let's see what the Most High says. And behold, the word of the Most High came unto him, saying, this shall not be thine heir. That doesn't mean we dismiss other nations and all this other people. That's not what they're saying. They ain't gonna be in the same place. They won't have the same status. Whole nother teaching, whole nother lesson. But he said, this shall not be thine heir, but he shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thy heir. In other words, yo, you're gonna have a son. What did that word do? It produces hope, faith, belief. Mind you, Abraham left home at 75. So he's not a young dude. His wife is 10 years younger than him. She in her 60s. He's not a young dude. They've been together for a while now. And they haven't had any kids. But he has a lot already. And the Most High showing up saying, I am your exceeding great reward. Yes, you are. You are indeed that. But with all that you've given me, I don't have anything. I don't have anyone to pass it to. I could give it to Eleazar, but that's it. And the father's like, nah, chill, man. I got you. I got you. You're gonna have a son. You're gonna have an heir, and he shall come forth out of thy own bowels. And he brought him forth abroad and said, look towards the heaven and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto them, so shall thy seed be. So the father telling him, listen, not only do you have a son, but look at the stars. Yo, can you count them? That's how many kids you gonna have. That's how your seed gonna be. That's how your seed gonna multiply. And this was Abraham's response, or Abram's response. The word says, and he believed in the Most High, and it was what? Counted him righteousness. In other words, that word produced a hope in Abram. It produced a hope in Abram that it don't look like you're going to be able to produce right now. It don't look like you're going to be able to have kids right now. And this is all time back into Hebrews, because remember, we just read Hebrews verses 14 and 15, where it's talking about why he promised what he promised Abraham. I'm just going to get in the backstory. That's all I'm doing, family. I like the history of the book too. But this is why what was said in Hebrews is said what is Hebrews in Hebrews. And he said unto him, remember that word, that it was counted unto him righteousness in verse 6. It was counted unto him righteousness in verse 6. Remember that word too. He said unto him, I am the Most High that has brought thee out of Ur of Chaldees to give thee this land to inherit it. And he said, the Most High, and he said, Lord God, whereby shall I know that I will inherit it? In other words, how will I know? What promise do I have? What sign do I have? Give me a token. Give me an oath. This is what the Most High says to him in verse 9. He said unto him, take me a heifer of 3 years old. Man, I wish my brother was on right now. Bro, you need to teach this. Take me a heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a pigeon. And he took unto them all these and divided them in the midst. Such an understanding behind this. In the midst, and laid each piece one against another, but the birds divided he not. And when the fowls came upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. So without really going in deep about it, this is how they struck deals in ancient Eastern culture. They would cut up the animals and both parties would walk between the pieces. And so in walking between the pieces, if anybody went back on the deal, if anybody went back on the oath, anybody get back on the promise that they made, the oath was, let whatever happened to these animals happen to me if I should break this deal. I'm just giving you the brief, because I really want my brother to really teach this. But I'm just giving you the brief part of it as to why this was so significant. So these pieces that were laid down, and Abraham is guarding them because they're preparing for the deal. They're preparing for the deal, an agreement, a covenant. Verse 12. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. Mind you, Abraham hasn't walked through the pieces yet. The word says that a deep sleep fell upon him, and lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, know for a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger. So again, he's being promised seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve him, and they shall afflict him for 400 years. This is what the Father is telling Abram. He's telling him this, that his seed is going to go through this. Mind you, he hasn't had a baby yet. His wife hasn't had a baby yet. Isaac hasn't been born yet. And all the nations whom they shall serve, will I judge. And all the nation, and that nation whom they shall serve, will I judge. And afterwards they shall come out with great substance. And thou shalt go the way of thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried at a good old age. But in the fourth generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. In other words, the Father hadn't got to the point where he's fed up with what the Amorites were doing. If anybody knows the history, we talked about this before, the Amorites haven't gotten really to the point of the child sacrificing, or the level of child sacrificing excuse me, that they were doing. Verse 17. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp. Oh, I wish my brother was here to teach this. And a burning lamp passed between the pieces. So the Father put Abraham to sleep, and he himself passed between the pieces. Not Abraham, the Father. Basically showing Abraham that this covenant ain't even on you. But because you left Ur of Chaldees and I'm your God and you've chosen to obey me, this is what I'm going to do for you. I will walk between the pieces. This is my covenant. Verse 18. And in that day the Most High made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. The reason why I read all of that, family, is because when the Father says to Abraham the forefather Abraham in verse 22, in chapter 22, go sacrifice your son. Abraham had to be in full confidence or full trust or full hope that even if the Father caused him to sacrifice his firstborn, that the Father was going to make good on this word that he made in chapter 15. There's no way. I trusted him to leave Ur of Chaldees. He's given me victory over these kings. And now he's made me another promise that I will have an heir. And now I have the heir that he promised. Now I'm called to sacrifice him. Oh, he got to be up to something, because I know him not to be a liar. His reputation is good with me. The way that he moves is good with me. So when opposition comes against what the Father promised, I got to trust and believe that the Father is still going to make good on the promise. This is what he promised me. And Abraham was so committed that even when told to sacrifice his own son, he said, okay, I'll go do it because of what you already told me 7 chapters in advance. That my seed will be like as many nations and that they will be as to start. That's what he told him. So he's willing to step out in faith, step out in belief, step out in trust based on these promises. Based on these promises. I hope you are walking this journey with me, family. I hope you guys are walking this journey because we go through a lot of stuff. That's why the Father will step up before and tell us, I've given you victory. And the enemy wants to come for the word, or life situations and circumstances come for the word. And that's why when we read in what we read in Hebrews, it talks about enduring. Let's go back up to verse 11 and let's go repeat some verses. Have these things in mind, and the example of our forefather Abraham. This is what our forefather Abraham had to go through. This is what the king had to go through, and anybody that goes this way. Let's start back a little bit and let's go to a reminder. I'm not going to elaborate on these scriptures. I'm just going to go ahead and now read up to the point of Abraham, where it says, but beloved, we are persuaded better things of you, and things that accompany salvation, though we thus speak. For the Most High is not unrighteous. Remember, he saw the righteousness of Abraham. So he is not unrighteous to forget your work and your labor of love, which you have showed towards his name. Towards his name. In that ye have ministered to the saints and do minister. We desire that every one of you do show the same diligence in full assurance of hope, expectation, confidence, trust unto the end. That ye be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith and patience, inherit the promises. Isn't that what our forefather Abraham showed? Faith and patience. For when the Most High made promise to Abraham, because he could not swear by no greater, he swore by himself. Wasn't it the Father who, in the symbol of a furnace and a smoking flash, walked between the pieces? Abraham didn't walk between the pieces. The Father swore by himself when he made that covenant with Abraham in chapter 15, saying, surely blessings I will bless thee, and multiplying I will multiply thee. And so that he patiently endured, he obtained the promise. For men verily swear by the greater. We often swear to God. I know when I used to work for social services, that's why I would say I affirm what I'm about to say, because we were taught not to swear by him, because we can't do that. But it said men verily swear by the greater, and an oath for confirmation is to them an end of all strife. In other words, once that oath is made, that ends all the argument. You swear, you made a vow, you'll be holding to it. Wherein the Most High willing and more abundantly to show unto the heirs, because he swore by himself, and he said he was going to bless us, and he was going to keep us, and he was going to multiply us in our father Abraham, which is why he sent the person of Christ to put us back in status with him. It says, wherein the Most High willing more abundantly to show unto the heirs of promise the immutability or the unchanging. The Father hasn't changed his mind of his counsel, which we know according to Isaiah 46:10, that's what he's going to do. Confirmed it by an oath. That by these two immutable things, in which it is impossible for the Most High to do what? He can't lie. When we reference Numbers 23, verse 19, he's not a man that he should lie. These two immutable things, that once he said it, he can't take it back. And two, he cannot lie. That we might have a strong consolation, confidence, hope. Let's look at what the consolation looks like in the Greek. Paraklesis, if I said that right. A calling, near summon, imploration, supplication, entreaty, exhortation, admonition, encouragement, consolation, comfort, solace, that which affords comfort, a refreshment. Consolatory. This is what we have. This is what we have. So it says, a strong consolation, who have fled for refuge to lay hold. Is his name not a strong tower? And those that run therein are safe. Fled for refuge to lay hold upon the hope set before us. In other words, while the enemy will want to get us to back off, excuse me, to take down, to give up on what the Father said, I just want to encourage you all tonight to press in, to live in expectation. We walk by what? Faith, and not by sight. The word says that the just shall live by faith. He's made us just. Now we live by faith. Lay hold upon it, the hope set before us, which hope we have as a, then we read about an anchor, as an anchor of the soul, of our emotions. I'm tempted to look at, let me look at that. That's Suke or Sukai. I know I'm jacking that up. Breath, the breath of life, a vital force that animates the body and shows itself breathing. In animals of man, life, that which there is life, living, a living soul. I like this definition right here. The soul, the seat of feelings, desires, affections, aversion, our heart, our soul, etc., etc. The human soul is so far as it is constituted that by the right use, right use of aids offered it by the Most High, can attain the highest end and secure eternal blessedness. The soul regarded as a moral being designed for everlasting life. The soul as an essence which differs from the body and is not dissolved by death, distinguished from the parts of the body. Remember, the soul, the seat of feelings, desires, emotions. What does it say? In verse 19, based on that word, which hope we have as an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, which enter into that which within the veil. With it, whether the forerunner is for us, entered even Yahusha, made in high priest. He's the source of our hope. He's the author of it. Forever after the order of Melchizedek. That's why the king went the way that he had. So that way, no matter what we go through, no matter what is perpetrated in the media, no matter what laws and legislature they pass, no matter what wars and rumors of war and pestilence and everything that is unleashed, we understand that if we obey the Father, we have a hope. Let me go grab a few more verses. Then I'm almost done, family. Thank you all for those that have bear with me on this, especially the last 2 nights. I hope that this is encouraging to you and edifying you. Let me go ahead and grab Colossians chapter 1. Colossians chapter 1. verse 23 through 28. Shema that. So once you get your hope up, family. Chapter 1, verse 23 through 28. And it says, if ye continue in faith, grounded and settled. Faith coming by hearing and hearing by the word. What did the Father say? Be not moved away from the hope of the gospel, which ye have heard, and which was preached to every creature under the Shamayim, whereof I, Paul, am a minister. Verse 24. Who now rejoice in my suffering, and fill up that which is behind of the afflictions of Christ in my flesh and in his body's sake, which is the church, whereof I am a minister according to the dispensation of the Most High, which is given to me for you to fulfill the word of the Most High, even to the mystery which have been hid from the ages and from generations, but now is made manifest to his saints. Here's what I want to get to whom the Most High have made known the riches of his glory. I'm going to talk about the glory of God real soon, because a lot of people, especially from the others persuasion, Christian persuasion, they butcher that up when we talk about him not sharing his glory with another. I will be bringing that out soon. But it talks about to whom the Most High made known the riches of his glory, riches of the glory of the mystery among the Gentiles, which is Christ in you, the hope of glory, whom we preach, warning every man and teaching every man in all wisdom, that we may present every man perfect in Hamashiach Yahushua. Because Christ is the hope, the order of Melchizedek. Let me go to Galatians. A couple more verses and I'm done, family. We go to Galatians chapter 6, 7 through 10. Galatians chapter 6, 7 through 10. Let him that is taught in the word communicate to him that teacheth in all good things. Be not deceived. The Most High is not mocked. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he reap. For he that soweth in flesh shall reap of the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth in the spirit, this is for those that want to live right and are living right and are fighting to live right. He that soweth to the spirit shall of the spirit reap everlasting life everlasting. Verse 9. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not, family. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. How we fight, family? Continue to love and serve one another. Continue to edify one another. If we compete with one another, let's compete to be a blessing. So be not weary in well doing. For in due season you shall what? Reap if you faint not. So if you sow to the spirit, you shall reap life everlasting to the spirit. What that's saying? That's that hope, family. 1 John 3. And I'm done. 1 John 3. Start at verse 1. That's what it says. Put your hope up, family. Behold, What manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of the Most High. Therefore the world knoweth not us, because they don't know him. We're not moving like everybody else moves. We move for the purpose of serving and pleasing the Father. He's our reason. Christ said it in John 4:34, my meat is to do the will of my Father. One of his testimonies was, I always do those things that please my Father. That's what the king said. He understood at age 12 why he existed. Yes, I'm a father. Yes, I'm a brother. Yes, I'm a son. Yes, I'm all these things. Social worker, all those things. But first and foremost, in all that we are to one another, we are sons and daughters of the Most High. Verse 2, beloved, now we are the sons of the Most High, and it doth not yet appear that what we shall be. So we don't know what it looked like to have that glorified body. But we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him. For we shall see him. Who? That one that's after the order of Melchizedek. The one who went this way. The one who laid his life down. The one who suffered a great many things. The one who was lied on. The one who was beaten and scourged. The one who was unalived unjustly for our sakes. Who knew no sin, who was without evil. But he's the firstborn, the first fruit of many sons and daughters. That's who we're going to be like. Whatever he is, when he appears, we're going to be like that. Verse 3, and it says, every man and woman, Adam, we all one. Every man that has this hope in him purifies himself, even as he, who is he? The king is pure. So family, according to 1 Peter 2:9, matter of fact, let me go grab that verse. Let me just grab it. I don't even want to paraphrase it. It echoes what we've been talking about from Exodus. Echoes what we've been talking about from Exodus. 1 Peter 2:9. He's referencing Exodus 19, Exodus chapter 19, verses 5 and 6. It says, this is what Peter says. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal or a kingly, joint heirs through Christ, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that should show forth the praises of him who called you out of darkness into the marvelous light. This is who we are in Christ, family. This is who we're called to be. I don't want you all to give up hope. I want to encourage you to get your hope up. When the enemy get to acting up, serve harder. When people get to trying to curse your name, question your character, serve harder. The kids may not be moving right, serve harder. Spouse may act a fool, serve harder. Be not weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. What does Isaiah 40 say? 31? 40 and 31? They that wait on the Most High shall what? Renew their strength. They shall mount up on wings as an eagle. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. All praises to the Most High. That's all your brother got. I pray that there was edification, especially within these first 2 nights. You can, matter of fact, let me put that in the chat. Chasers of the Way.com. Let me put the www in front of it. Chasers of the Way.com. So go ahead and as if our wonderful Moray's wife has put that information up for you to go ahead and access. Matter of fact, I want to say just access last night, but this past Shabbat, please hear what my brother taught. Leading into this, and I said that he mowed my grass. And then he wanted me to bring new moon lesson. I'm like, man, you already said half the stuff I was going to say. With that being said, I pray that something was said to edify you all, to encourage you all. The hour is yet late for those that are on the East Coast. For my dear sister Mary out on the West Coast, she probably just getting going, if she's still on. But with that being said, I thank you all for spending time with your boy, the pesky little brother. I'm not exactly little, but I consider myself really young at heart. And so I don't mind being the little brother to my big brothers in the spirit. And so I encourage you all, stay encouraged, stay in the fight, keep your hands to the plow. Don't get off on foolishness. Don't let foolishness sidetrack you and take your eyes off the promise. Don't let family that don't discern who you are, don't let the naysayers and the gainsayers, don't let people who may clown your doctrine, because they may not even talk to you long enough to even get understanding, especially on the social media streets. Don't let these social media streets get you to the point where you shut up your bowels of compassion. A lot of times people don't know how to have a dialogue. They don't know how to have a dialogue where we have a peaceful and a reasonable discourse. Shalom to you, Sister BJ. Love you, Sister BJ. Shalom to you. All praises. Don't allow that to happen to you. Don't lose faith. My mom used to always say, Moray's mother, my mother, our mother, she used to always say, just because I may have offended you, don't take it out on God. Don't take it out on the Most High. We still have a charge to keep. We still have a God to love. And he said, love him first. He ain't been nothing but good to us. I may have frustrated my wife, but God loved her. God loved her. So far be it for her to take down from the Most High because of something I did. To my young people, same thing. Young people that are listening, if you're listening, don't blame the Most High for anything that you may have felt we did as adults. Anybody that comes across this, don't let a camp, don't let an elder, don't let an ex, anything separate you from the love of the Most High. He the one that put air in your lungs, and he the one that put purpose in your body. Don't let nobody take that hope from you. Don't let nobody take that hope from you. Be encouraged, family. The enemy always acts up around the Moedim. Things always happen around the time of the word, the season of harvest. That's why we only reap some 30, some 60, some 100-fold. We want to get to the point where we're reaping 100-fold because in spite of everything that we had to endure, we held on to what he promised. 60 is good, 30 is cool, but let's get to the point where we're reaping 100-fold because in spite of what it looked like, we were steadfast. Our emotions were anchored. We held on to what he said. I'm reminded of every time I talk about the Most High, I'm reminded of what my father used to say, my earthly father. My father didn't care about anything that nobody else said. He would say, but what did I say? Because if I can obey another voice outside of my father's voice, then I got to reap the wrath of my father. Let's stop listening to every other voice outside of the voice of the Most High. What is the Most High saying? What is he saying to us in this season of time at harvest? He's saying, be strong and courageous, family. Only be strong and courageous, family. Did I not say be strong and courageous? Gird yourself up, family. Gird yourself up. That being said, again, this is the pesky little brother, aka your brother Yochanan Ben Yah of Chasers of the Way, where I served under my brother, Ray Eugene Copeland, aka Agent Z, aka the governor. The most humble man I know. He does not care about titles. He's fine with you calling him Eugene. The reason why he has titles because I be pushing him on him. I take ownership of that. That's my brother. I am, dear sister. I am. As a matter of fact, I'm almost out of it. I am. Thank you. I know Sister Tracy gonna be on my. I'm trying to have a kick before I see you. Shout out to everybody that's coming to visit us for the Passover. For whoever else is not able to visit us for the Passover, if you're not fellowshipping with anybody, we would definitely love to have you. Look forward to giving you the online information. I got a treat coming for you this week too. I'm going to do a little get together with my son on here on the podcast. He's going to break down some things. So look for that. That's actually this coming Wednesday. I think it's the 8th. Going to do a little something with my son. Bring forth a little edification. He shared something with me about a couple weeks ago. And I said, you know what? I want you to bring that to the people. And I think it's something that's going to encourage and edify not only him, maybe you've got some young people that kind of want to hear something from a young person's perspective, but also just the fact that the Most High is dealing with him. And as a dad, naturally, I'm proud. And some of the stuff that he shares, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to share it. I'm going to let you share it. And so I'm going to walk with him, going to help him share it. But yeah, he's going to bring some edification. And so look for that to come soon. We'll try to keep the music down low. We may not have any music at all. I may just have the other sound effects with the swords and all that other stuff. But yeah, so that's coming on the 8th. I believe we're going to have a deeper look, taking a deeper look. Another one. I give with my brothers on that. Our big brother, the big homie Giak. I miss his brother so much. He's coming out. He's out of the dark clouds, but there's other stuff that he's working on. But for those that pray, keep him in prayer. He's doing better. He's doing a lot better, family. But I ain't gonna front. I miss serving, especially with the one flesh. I miss serving with my big brother, the big homie Giak. Thank you, Dr. C. Cuts or Dr. Cuts. I hate to find out why you call yourself Dr. Cuts. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Shout out to my father, Moray Reginald Hyde. That's my dad, y'all. The most handsome, almost 70-year-old man you will ever see in your life. That is my pops. And I'm proud to call him my dad. That is my dad. The original superhero. Love you, Pops. Love you. And I thank you for being the dad that you are. But yeah, we're going to do taking a deeper look. I'm going to press my brother because we got to get together on some stuff. And I really want him to bring, I hope he maybe will bring that edification about Abraham. I don't know when he's going to bring it, but there's a lot he's sitting on and there's some things I'm sitting on. But we're going to do this. I don't know if we're going to do this. What I do, Pops? What I do? I said you were handsome. I'm sorry. Maybe I should have said my dad was handsome. I'm sorry. I take it back. He's not that good looking. He's not that good looking. My bad. That being said, trying to think. Look for another taking a deeper look between me and my brother. So we got my son on Wednesday. We're definitely doing that. Taking a deeper look on this coming. I ain't gonna say either. It's gonna either be Thursday or Friday with our Moray. I'm hoping. I'm impressive. We talk about a few things. There's a few things that's in them that we can do some stuff on. So I'm hoping to bring further edification. Like you, I love to hear him preach and teach. So let's see how he's feeling and see if we can bring the edification. Also, if you're not serving or doing anything on Shabbat, please join us at chasesaway.com and click on the link for Google Meet. We'd love to have you. We're in the process of prepping for our Passover. And so we've really been emphasizing these past few lessons about the priestly ministry of Christ, bringing us into fellowship, bringing us into relationship, bringing us into tabernacle with the Father. And so these last few lessons, we've really been trying to hammer this point as to the importance of our King. And so we will be talking about things along that line. I hope that everything that we said, especially within these past couple months, has been something to really encourage you and edify you. With that being said, again, this is the Pesky Little Brother, aka your boy Yehukanan Ben Yah. I love you all. You all get some rest. Have a good night. Keep your hope up. Let's go serve the Most High with everything that's in us. Shalom, family.